Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sanctuary of the Joy of Being. And I am Daphne Kurkunaki. I'm here with Emma Sampson. I am in Crete right now, and Emma is in Devon in England. And we are here to explore a theme that we feel is very very important for many reasons, for in terms of creating a joyful life, which is what we all really want, and also to talk a little bit about various other things that are also
We'll see where the conversation goes,
goes,
definitely.
yeah. um, so I've known Emma for many years. I used to live in England. She is a very dear friend and sister, and we've shared many both deep and wild moments together in various lands, actually around the world. And she is an amazing artist. She's a medicine woman. She is a magical creature, and she's a voice magician, and so many things. And I always love being in her presence. I love creating with her, and so that's why we're here. We're doing a thing together that we will briefly talk about, and yeah, and we want to share a little bit about that and invite those of you who are inspired to join. And Emma, do you want to say a few things before we introduce more specifically our topic?
Sure. Hello. And I'd like to introduce my beautiful sister Daphne, who is a Cretan goddess who has a mission to reawaken the magic and and incredible potency of her native land. And through her, and when we were traveling together in her lands, the land came through really strongly to invite us to hold this retreat that we're going to speak about, the joy of being. And yeah, she's our guide of this magical land that calls so many people to come and meet its mysteries. And yeah, we invite you to come and join us and connect to its potency and the joy and this pure essence that's available in the land there, which is of course everywhere, but it's really available and generous in the land of Crete, isn't it, Daphne?
Yes, exactly. It's Crete is such a rich place. It's a small island in a way. I mean, not very small, but in the kind of, in terms of when we take the whole globe into consideration, it's a small piece of land, and there is so much diversity, so much beauty, and at the same time, it's like the bosom of the mother. I think you've used that expression
Mm.
before. It's like you land and you feel immediately in your body this invitation to go slow, to quieten, and at the same time it's a safe place.
Mm.
The when you go out in the wild nature and you're not, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing poisonous, or not that there's anything wrong with those things, but it's kind of like you can just surrender and open and feel held.
Very kind, isn't it? It's very
Yeah.
kind. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. She invites
And
the energy that we're going to speak about of receptivity.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And as we were speaking beforehand, it feels like this receptivity, we can define it a bit more, but it's such a key thing for us in these days where we're conditioned and programmed to be constantly reaching outwards. Reaching outwards in so many ways. Like our attention is reaching outwards in terms of achievement or consumption, or to to get attention from other people or love, and our attention is outwards as well, in like trying to look at how we look, how we dress, all this insecurity that's generated. And the whole culture is perpetually inviting us into this state of outward moving energy. And so this receptive state that we're talking around is how to come back into this natural aligned state where things come to us. We're not having to effort, and we can be in this relaxed, receptive state and recultivate this trust in life that there is abundance available to us, which for so many of us we don't believe. It's like we have to work hard, we have to try hard, we have to effort to receive this abundance when it's actually our natural state.
Yes. Yes, and it's that natural state that we are, we want to be exploring in this retreat together. That's why it's called the joy of being,
Mhm.
because when you're in touch with that, you're just naturally feeling joy without needing to do anything or have anything.
Mm,
And, don't get us wrong, of course, there's there's desire and there's things that we want to to go towards, and that's natural.
mm, mm,
And what we are exploring here together is how to find in the body a place where a receptive place where we can go towards what we truly desire, not from a place of not having enough, not of a place from a place of effort, not from an activated nervous system that we need things in order to be okay.
mm,
It's actually from the opposite place. It's like, yes, I am connected to my trust, I'm connected to my authority, I'm connected to who I am. I want these things. I can feel actually when I'm connecting with that I am gonna have what I want, because it's part of who I am.
mm,
There is no question about it. Yes, there is a pathway that I don't know, and that's what I'm here to explore. And it's actually also exciting, and there will be challenges along the way. But we're not approaching all these things, whether it's a relationship or uh, our own business or work or health, and any of that is like from a place of despair.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for me, I wasn't taught as a child or in my life up until more recently, I wasn't taught what it would mean to trust. What maybe I got the I saw the modeling in some people who maybe have a religious faith, that they had a faith in something, but that wasn't my path. I didn't have that faith. I didn't have a faith in something religious. And in my younger years, I didn't I didn't really know that there was something that it was possible to trust, because all the world around me was telling me that I couldn't trust, was telling me there were things to be afraid of, there were that I have to control to be able um, to be able to get my needs met, to make myself safe, um, to yeah, to be okay in this world. And actually, the more I've learned to be in this receptive state, to be in my body, to find relaxation, to find alignment, there's this sense that I'm held, and that I can lean back into something that is bigger than myself, and that I can trust, and that I can trust the next response of my body in response to the environment, rather than having to preempt everything all the time and work it out, and well, without having to be in a state of control. And then, of course, the more I've learned to be in that receptive state, is that actually it's a pleasurable experience. It's not just being, it's being in that joy, it's being in a in pleasure, it's being in a blissful interaction with whatever arises, even if that's something challenging. There's not a resistance to it, so I can be receptive in my body to it and process it without it having to be something that totally knocks me off center, and then I end up wallowing around in some kind of challenge for weeks, and not really knowing what's going on. Yeah, so this it's one of these things which is, it feels so curious, because obviously it takes practice. It takes practice to come into that state of receptivity, and it takes commitment to keep reminding ourselves to return. But actually, it's so simple, and it's so available. It's so available. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's so key for all of us to keep reminding each other we need it, because it's true, it's so available. And at the same time, when we are so used to looking at our immediate man-made environment,
Mm,
it's, that's not the message that we're getting. Most of the people walk out there in an activated nervous, like with an activated nervous system.
mhm,
And we are all conditioned, of course. I grew up with a Christian background, but my family was not also massive on following any of the
mhm,
um, rituals or whatever people do. But I don't know, even for people who have a strong faith background, I don't actually know that that, because we are talking about an experience in the body, not
mm,
something that is understood from the mind.
mhm,
And in my understanding, a lot of what is available out there in religious communities is a mind-led approach.
mhm.
And then you have someone who knows better than you, giving you information and guidance, and you have to give your power away to them, and that's not what we are talking about here.
Yeah.
And the reason why I mentioned that is because, yes, there isn't really, the whole culture is in a way programmed to 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 do this usual thing that we're talking about, not the receptive state.
Mm, mm, mm,
And therefore, it is so important to this message that we want to communicate, that yes, it may be difficult, it is difficult, but at the same time, it is very available once you have some tools, once you've started to touch on this experience of what it means to be in a receptive state in your body, and then to know what will support you
Mm-hmm.
to keep cultivating that, because as you said, it is a process, it is a muscle that you train. It's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, you know, you wake up every morning and you're faced with the world around you, and you're sensitive, and but then the more you cultivate it, the more your body is saying, no, 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 this is effort, don't go there. You know, go back to what you have reached
Mm.
again and again. That feels effortless, that feels beautiful, that feels connected and open and like heaven. You know, it's like you want to be there.
Yes, you want to be there. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, when we learn to be in relationship and really paying, being in a devotional relationship with our body wisdom and what all the signals in our body are giving us all the time, then we're not giving our power away to some external authority telling us how we need to be and how we need to live our lives. Because actually, we have the complete capacity to generate authority and autonomy in ourselves. And for some people, maybe that's obvious, but for other people, it's really, really key that there's that we don't need anybody to tell us how to live our lives, how to be healthy, how to respond. We've got all this information available to us all the time. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I have goosebumps just by you saying this. Yeah, we have all the information that we need available to us. It is like, in a way, such a crazy idea to communicate. You know, all of us are constantly looking outside of ourselves for answers
You're just asking
and
Google
support. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
answer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm. I'm just thinking as we're speaking this of these places in Crete that we're going to pilgrimage to, and these incredible temples, these incredible sacred sites, but also not necessarily the places that these days are quite a lot of tourist attractions, but just in the land, the amount of information we receive, and how different places, different environments give us different information. In the way that we all know, if we stand by the sea, we get a beautiful feeling from the sea. If we stand by a fire, we get a beautiful feeling from the fire. If we go to a woodland, it's a different feeling, and we're receiving information through the body. And yeah, I'm just feeling the beautiful things we have planned in your gorgeous land, of these experiences of being able to enjoy the nature and what it offers, and some of those places being very, very powerful, and how there's information that's happening from the land, but also from the celestial environment. The ancestors who built these places, they had a lot of understanding of the alignment with different constellations, and how that, I mean, they chose the places for their palaces that were powerful places. So yeah, I'm feeling the excitement of us being there and enjoying movement and connection, and being with the land, and experiencing the information that arises through the body from connecting to these places,
yeah, yeah,
even in a simple way, without having to do something special, just bringing presence to the body. It's amazing how much information comes through. It's not like a special gift, or it's the beautiful thing that I've seen is that when I can come into alignment and a state of receptivity, then there's so much available. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an unforgettable experience then. And nature is the fastest way for us to rewire our nervous system, to our nerves, our connections that have been kind of damaged, may I say, as we were growing up. Um, and specifically with Crete, what I want to say, because the civilization here flourished in the Taurus era,
Mm,
and the Taurus era was very much about the power of nature. It was very much about um, a non-hierarchical time, as far as we know.
mhm,
Um, and and I feel this with Crete in a way. I mean, people say that you can dig anywhere and you will find ancient things, but I feel this, that whereas in some other places you feel the difference when you go to those particular spots that you named.
mm,
Here, like in mainland Greece or in England, or you go to the where the stones are or where Parthenon is, and you do indeed experience a different vibration in your body. Here in Crete, I feel it throughout the land.
mm. Yeah, on the beaches, in the mountains, everywhere. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's and it's each place has a slightly different vibration. Like when I go to the east of the island, I feel a really powerful masculine activation.
Mm,
And when I'm west, I feel more feminine, more like a flat, um, like horizontal
horizontal.
opening. Yeah. And yeah, it's just depending on whether do I want to be relaxed and in the floor, do I want to go and just put some structure in my life. It's like I will go to different places to ask and receive support. And I don't want, of course, wherever we are, and it's important for me to say that wherever we are, we ask, and if we are in a receptive state, we receive.
Mm, mm, mm,
Yet it is somehow easier when we are in away from civilization, away from powerful what do you call power lines
mm,
and satellites and noise and buildings and cars, because they are kind of interfering. So of course I believe that if we are already um, connected, we don't need to be anywhere in particular yet, because like you said, it's a process, and we're all at different stages of that process. It's immensely um, it's like a gift when you go to specific places
mm,
in nature. Then you get like you're feeling like more supported, and it's easier for you to to become receptive and
mhm,
to open to this um, to the cosmos
mm,
and to the wealth
mm.
that is already available for us.
Yeah, I think one of the keys, which I feel like you're speaking to, is this sense of safety.
Mm.
Crete really offers that sense of safety, and like you said, there's a there's an invitation to experience that receptivity, experience that that pleasure in the body. But once we have an imprint of that, it's not like we have to go out in nature to experience that. We can, I can walk through the city of London and be being given a huge amount of information, and my body can process that and I can enjoy that. I know when I was younger and I was very sensitive and I withdrew myself into a more natural life, and I would go into a more human environment and I found it overwhelming. But the more I've learned to really be in the body and and feel what my body is telling me, then yeah, I can go in any environment. I can enjoy airports and service stations and all of those things. Um, yeah, so I feel like it's important to remember that we're not trying to give people an experience of something that's in a way special. It's like it's revealing something that's already present, that's already available, that we always have available to us. And my hope is, my desire is that from this beautiful retreat, that the people who come are going to have an experience and feel that for themselves and be able to take that into their lives with this trust that they have that available to them.
Yes, yes, and of course, we all, like you said, it's a process, and we all need support.
Mm,
And at the same time, it's like, that, yeah, we're not alone in this life. We're not here to walk it alone. Yes, as you said, all the information is here. So by kind of going, okay, I don't know right now, and enter this receptive state, and know that you are held in your not knowing, and there is a knowing in the not knowing.
mm,
And then, yes, maybe where externally, where some support may be useful to you in order to go to your next thing, what it is that you're moving towards. There is some practical information out there, but you're not going from a place of despair or victim, where you're open and vulnerable to um, being taken advantage of, and putting yourself in those positions, and constant race and constant yeah, responding to the demands that are coming, that are constantly coming. And then it's like you are with this activated nervous system, responding, burning yourself out. And
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
What's coming to me is like when we're in that state, is we don't actually have a relationship with each, we don't have a relationship with ourselves. We've lost the relationship with ourselves, we've lost the relationship with other people, we lose our we lose our intimacy. And it feels like this joy of being is an intimacy with life. There's a sweetness in the presence of of being here in relationship, in the way, even though we're looking at each other through a screen, we're in relationship with each other. Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. And we don't need to say much, actually. We can just enjoy each other and enjoy this effortless
Mhm.
connection. Yeah.
I don't know how interesting it will be for everybody to watch. So
Yeah.
if we're
Yeah.
just
It's all fine.
yeah. I'm wondering if we speak of some of our personal keys to
Yeah.
connecting to this receptive state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and also to link with this is where my mind also was going next, and to speak of some of the things that we intend to explore together in this retreat.
Mhm.
And also the fact that what I want to say is that we do have an understanding that it's a process, and part of our intention is to offer people. It's not like you go to a retreat, you do a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of that, and then you have an amazing experience, and then you recharge, fair enough, and you go home and you wait for your next retreat.
Mhm.
This, this
Yes.
is there's nothing wrong with that, of course. Like the more people do in terms of putting themselves in the right experiences and environments in order to cultivate this receptive state, the better, in a way. But there are also efficient ways, which is my passion, and where, like, we collectively bring this understanding that it's a process, and there's integration time, and people are gonna need, perhaps if they want, they're gonna be tools available to them.
Yeah. There can be
Yes.
keys to remember the simplicity of it, of this state, the simplicity and the beauty of this state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of your personal tools?
Well, of course, ways to come into alignment in the body. Um, but the thing that I want to speak about now, the thing that I want to speak about now is fire.
Oh yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
so it's like we all love sitting around a fire. Everybody loves to sit with a fire, and it's such a simple and beautiful thing. And yeah, my experience of I've sat with fire around a lot of fires with others, and I've sat with fires on my own. And yeah, I feel like the fire invites that state of receptivity. It brings us into this state of relaxation, the beauty of it, the movement of it, the warmth of it. It's timeless. We know that our ancestors have been sitting around fires since they first connected to fire. And yeah, just the simple beauty of that is it's such a nourishing thing to do. And yeah, I'm calling in the beauty of sitting round a fire together and how delicious that is.
Yeah.
So that's one of my keys. It's one of my practices actually, is being with fire. And I know that
Mm.
whenever I'm feeling out of alignment, whenever I'm feeling confused in my head, angry, fuzzy, I sit with the fire, and the fire just relaxes me, brings me back into my state of presence, brings me back into my body. It's almost like the fire itself takes something away, takes something that I don't need away, draws it out of me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. You've inspired me with this. You started with a fire. To talk about the elements that, because we
Mm.
will have access to the various elements, and we will use them, and maybe we can see, if we have time, we can also explore how these outer elements also that we can use also connect to the,
Inner elements. Yes, yes.
yes, and the usefulness of those. But let's see how much time we have.
See how much time. Maybe it's another
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, so equally I want to talk about the water
Mm,
and the sea. For me, it's like going into this uh, like universal mother. I feel like, because the sea is like, it's, I feel this, it's connecting, it's the element of water is the unconscious is connecting everyone and everything without us knowing about it. It's just like any element, is it holds so much information. And yet when I go into the warm waters of the Mediterranean, it's just I can stay, and
Mm,
I feel like, everyone, I'm sure, appreciates this cleansing that happens. It's like when I have a busy day, I'm lucky to be in close proximity to the sea. I will always drop down, even if it's for 10 minutes. And I go in and I come out and I feel like, okay, I'm reset. I'm now in my natural state of being. And all I need to do is maintain it, instead of kind of, it's a more of a process if I activated, and I have to find my own way of calming my down and finding my receptive state, which, yeah, it's possible, but it'll take me a lot longer than me just going into the sea,
mm,
having a dip, feeling okay, consciously I am now reset, and from now I just need to make one choice at a time, stay close to myself, and it's much more simple.
mm,
And also, like with the fire, I also I give my prayers to the water, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this immediate reciprocity,
mhm.
like, um yeah.
So what's coming to me as something that is a big tool for me in my life is the power of the voice. So I guess you put that in the, if we were going to talk about it elementally, it's the air element. And yeah, I for many years have been working with the power of the voice vibration and how that vibrates my body. And so I do sing, but it's not necessarily what I'm speaking of isn't necessarily singing to sound a particular way or to necessarily be pleasurable to other people's ears. It's about an experience in my body. And so to make sound that literally vibrates places. So maybe there's an energy in my body that I, I can feel and I'm wanting to meet, or something that feels stuck, or something that yeah, I don't necessarily know what it is. And so I can enter into it and make sound until I can feel that place in the body vibrating. It's just like meeting it and going, hello, who are you?
Yeah.
So rather than being in resistance to whatever it is that's happening, I can meet that with the sound. And it's incredible. I mean, we all know that everything's made up of vibration, everything's vibrating all the time. And so, yeah, my experience is that this power of our voice is incredible for coming into the present and for returning me to be able to be receptive, to relax, to be open, to allow my body to allow myself to drop back into my experience. Sometimes I have experienced in the past that when there's a lot happening, or when I'm activated, that I shoot up and out, and it
Right.
becomes this kind of outward movement. And so the ways into the receptive state are things that support me to come back in and down. And so making quite low noises,
Mm.
noises that really vibrate the lower parts of the body, exploring how it is to vibrate the toes, how it is to vibrate the root, really feeling my intestines, and it's super relaxing. It's yeah, it's like sometimes you can sound like a bit of a weirdo, but if you do it in the bath or in the shower or in the car, you don't have to have people listening to you. Actually, I would retract that. Don't do it whilst driving. I don't recommend it. I have done it and I don't recommend it. You can take
I,
yourself into a bit of a trance.
yeah. You're pretty safe because you live in the middle of nowhere in
I live
Devon.
in the middle of nowhere.
You,
Don't do it in the middle of the city.
yeah, it's forgiving for you, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I actually really look forward to exploring this with you in during our retreat. I've only recently started. I've been to my friend Rob, who is giving sound therapy sessions. And I found that I have some frequencies that actually highly successful people have really high. And then what you spoke of, like those that are connected to the lower chakras, the lower body, are I use less. And and how this needs to be balanced. So I'm more conscious now when I'm speaking, that I can connect to these areas of my body. It's like my mind has never made that connection, but now that I got this information, I am but it's not my comfort zone, because I've been used to doing things a certain way, so I have to bring my conscious attention. It's not easy, but I am seeing I'm experiencing the difference in my body, and I feel a lot more relaxed, a lot more here, a lot more able also to make things happen without striving.
Nice. Yeah, it's a very pleasurable experience. Like the more you explore making sound, the more you become aware of how the sound's affecting your body all the time. And
Yeah,
it can become a beautiful experience being bathed in vibration and really bringing attention to that. And
yeah,
yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring that as well. I feel like the first place is really creating a safe opportunity for people to get over making some sounds that maybe feel a bit weird, and get over this conditioning that we have to sound a certain way. There's so much conditioning around needing to, if we're going to sing or make any kind of sound, that it has to sound good.
yes,
And yeah, it takes away from a lot of the experience of how we can use our voice.
yes. Yes, beautiful. And it just makes me think of all these things that are extremely healing for us, that
Mm,
we don't do because we are conditioned to think that, we have to know how to sing in order to sing. And yet, just like you said, our own sound, our own vibration frequency is so healing. We already, like you said, we already know what we need if we can give ourselves permission.
mm,
And someone like you who has explored this can hold the space and encourage people into exploring that for themselves. And it's like it's the same with painting. um it's so healing to
yes.
to do that.
But we're told if we're not good at it, then we shouldn't bother. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Also dancing, I'm thinking, it's like for some,
exactly.
we're taught, there's so much conditioning around dancing, is that it has to look a certain way. And so the dance becomes more about how we're appearing rather than how we're feeling in the body and how the body wants to respond to the music. And, it's like the things, what really brings joy is singing, dancing, laughing, connecting. So that's another thing that we're going to bring,
Pressing.
is expressing. That's another thing we're going to bring on this retreat, is movement and dancing. But for anybody who hears dancing and feels like, I don't know about dancing, it's it's an invitation to come from that receptive state, so that you're moving the body in response. It doesn't have to look a certain way. There's no competition of being cool. It's about, how can we feel that pleasure
Yeah,
arising through the body? How can we let this life force move through us in the way that it wants to, and
yeah,
take and finding the ways that we can drop this self-consciousness, so that we're not coming from this place of constantly looking outside of ourselves, of how is this appearing, or how is this coming across, or is it good enough, but it just arises. Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. So this is, just bringing, like, summarizing in a way what we've been talking about. What I am hearing here is how we will first support people uh, using the the support of the elements, using experiences in nature to discover this receptive state
Mhm.
in themselves, and then from there we will explore various ways of expressing which are actually self healing, as well as freeing, as well as
Fun.
fun, and also it's they are supporting us also to connect with what we want. Our voice is just so important, like speaking our truth, speaking what we want, going forward in life is just so important, and developing a conscious connection with that, but that emerges through having fun.
Mm, mm, mm. Yes. Yeah, and I'm also feeling how this innate connection, this intrinsic connection that we have, that arises through this embodiment, this receptivity, through this joy, this then connects us, opens us to something that is beyond our personal self. And I'm feeling this sense of, as you're speaking of desires, dreams, prayers, however you want to call it, and also the power of the land in Crete, and the how we can, I don't really want to use the word use, but co-create co-create with this potency that we can experience through our bodies, with this alignment that we feel with the earth, with the celestial realms, with this wisdom that our ancestors knew
Mm.
about. And from that place, we're co-creating beauty, we're creating magic, we're putting energy into our dreams, we're putting energy into a bigger dream of how we know that we can live as human beings.
Beautiful. Yes, and all of these things are things that people can take away with them.
Mhm,
They don't need, like, they can find some rocks close by where they live afterwards, and then go sit by the rocks and listen
mhm,
and connect. And the rocks have so much information,
mhm,
and light a fire in their fireplace with the intention to come back to this place that
mhm,
they will be spending a week in constant, what's the word, like, emerged into this experience, you know, for the duration of a whole week. And it's four of us facilitating, all friends, all connected. There is a lot of intimacy between us. We've been, not only we've known each other for some time, and most of us have shared amazing experiences together, but we have also been cooking this,
Dreaming this.
dreaming it for a year now,
Yeah.
preparing the field. We've done so much energetic preparation of this ground, and we are all holding a really powerful intention. And, you know, four people is 4 times one person in terms of the power of intention
Yes.
and the strength of the container.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I feel to mention how one of these people, this beautiful man, Joanne, he's a musician. So we've got our own personal musician to support us to enjoy music, but to make music. So yeah, this feels like a real gift to have this incredible musician with us, and our beautiful Elizabeth to weave some magic.
yeah, yeah. um Elizabeth is our elder in a way as well.
Although younger than any of us at
Although
the
younger
same
than
time.
it. And yeah, like her ease of connecting to beyond realms, or beyond whatever you want to call them, the unseen, and bringing it through, and you know, in a way that is just, mm, you you don't easily meet
Yeah,
those kind of people or experiences. And um yeah, who knows? None of us knows. I'm just trying to speak about something that you can't speak about, because it's like the unspeakable. So
yeah,
but yeah, she's a true magic card.
yeah. She really embodies effortless joy, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah,
So
thank
yeah,
you, Daphne. I feel like, are
thank
we coming
you.
towards the end? I feel like,
Yeah, it feels to me like this, that we've come to a natural close effortlessly. Yeah.
oh, so beautiful to share this time with.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a pleasure, really. And yeah, so anything else to say practical? The date. It's this retreat is happening between the 2nd and the 9th of June in
Mm,
Crete. We will be based in the west part of Crete. There is a landing page where you can find all the information. There is also an early bird significant discount by the 4th of March.
mm,
And if people need to have a chat, please drop us an email, and I will, or one of us will happily meet with them and talk to them further. Um, and um, and the landing page, I think, is www.authenticecstasy.com is the website, and then I guess it will be /joy of being.
being. Yeah.
But if not,
You can
there.
write it. You can write it under this
Oh yes,
video.
I will.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to all you beautiful people joining us on our magical mystery tour of the joy and beauty of Crete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We still have some spaces. They are filling up slowly. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Mm.
Okay. So I wish everyone a beautiful day or evening, depending on what time it is. And Emma, wishing you a beautiful evening.
You too, Daphne. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.